Hello, happy Sunday, December 31st, 2023. It's the last day of the year. I'm going to do a WebM episode from my computer. I haven't done one of these in a long time. So here we go. It's not going to be a Nicolioki today. Happy New Year, everybody. Last day of the New Year's. It's going to be a great year. Godspeed to everybody coming out. Hopefully I'll be doing the same thing. New Year's Eve 2024. I'll be doing an update and talking about this year. Last year I was talking about how, I remember this, I was looking at these old WebMs, and I'm going, on New Year's Eve, I got a fortune cookie that says my best work is yet to come. And I just could not figure out for the life of me. I just saw this video recently and I'm laughing my head off because I couldn't figure out in the video. I'm going, what am I going to, a review of everything I've done so far, or what law thing? I can't imagine. And it turns out it's going to be the Bible work. I mean, I didn't finish it this year, but it's definitely, even just the bits and pieces I've been publishing online up until now, it really is the best work I've ever done, and it's going to be. So maybe 2024 is just a continuation of what the fortune cookie predicted on New Year's Eve last year, 2022, when I received that fortune cookie. Your best work is yet to come. Okay, so I didn't mean to talk about that. And also, it's not going to be a Nicolioki. This is just talk. So go away if you're not interested. I don't know why I said that. I'm not starting this again. I'm just saying this is mostly for me. If you're interested, fine. Okay. So there's a lot of interesting things in here. I'm just letting people know what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks because of stuff that happened just today that I'm looking up online. Okay. So what am I going to be working on? If it were a Nicolioki, it would be I'm Carrying Your Love With Me by George Strait. And it's because Walmart has been playing this song a couple times, over the last couple days. And I just get this feeling from some of these songs, like, where the heck did that come from? So I just get the feeling that the Walmart radio people, thank you for listening to this, Walmart World Radio Muses, I'm calling them. I have a feeling they have access to some of my deep Twitter accounts, like 3 Twitter accounts ago that were suspended, because some of this stuff goes way back. I remember that song, and I remember tweeting about it like 10 years ago, a lot. I just love that song. So if that's what's going on, thank you, Walmart World, and I would be Nicolioking that today. Good suggestion. I'm not doing it today. I'm not Nicolioking today. I'm not Nicolioking until I finish my Bible work. And I shouldn't even be doing this, but it's just easier to go through this right now instead of writing for today. I just wanted to. Okay, so, and I'm not stopping this video, and it's going to be done before 7. It's 6:44 because I have to start working on, this is what happened. Okay, I'm trying to finish this. It's called Nicole's History of the World Part 2. I'm working on it there. You have to pause if you want to see what I'm writing. So, and I'm doing this last night. It's very important to me. Actually, let me talk about this before you can read all that. I'm not going to talk about that. Okay, I'm going to post that. And I kept trying for 3 weeks, I think, since I posted Nicole's History of the World Part 1. This was supposed to be replied directly beneath it on Twitter, like the next day. And that was 3 weeks ago. And I think it's really important, I thought, to get information out there and do crowdsourcing on trying to prevent mass shootings from the tobacco swamp. I had a really bad feeling they were going to do some kind of disaster, especially around Christmas time, and we're still in that zone right now when they murdered Betty White at this time. They murdered one after the other. What was it? The one who played in Star Wars, and Debbie Reynolds and her daughter, and all at the same time. And these people were all murdered all around this time. And I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping, and I'm trying to prevent a big celebrity murder or a big kind of disaster that I've had a feeling coming, because so I wanted to crowdsource, and I wanted to publish all these things about the tobacco swamp and the history of it and what's going on right now and what I'm seeing, these patterns. And I wanted to break up the pattern. and I kept getting distracted. I kept getting sidebarred with all sorts of stuff on the Bible, and I don't worry about it because I have either a natural instinct or the subconscious or dead people or something like sniffs out what needs to be important in that regard. Especially when I was like trying to protect Kelly, who's surrounded by tobacco swamp people still. Let me do that right now. So Kelly just recently posted this. It's called Kelly Clarkson Reflects on 2003. It was fun to watch this video. I think they posted it just yesterday or earlier today. And the guy who was interviewing her on this thing is gay. All right, I'm just letting you know. And it's not the same guy. There's like a guy who interviews her from Australia, and that's not him. This guy is gay, and if he's closeted gay, I'm going to go beyond ballistic right now against the world. They need to keep closeted gay guys away from Kelly freaking Clarkson. Okay, I don't know how many times I have to say this, and she's just surrounded by him. Closeted ones. If they're not closeted and openly gay, fine. I'm not even comfortable with that. Okay, because we are in the middle of, whatever. We're in the middle of what I call the war to end all wars, and I'm just not having it with this stuff. I don't understand how you cannot find a woman or a non-gay man anywhere in the entire United States who could do these jobs just as well. I don't know why you have to have so many gay men around her. Okay, that's not. 5% of the population is gay. 90% of the people working over there is gay. All right, and it's not homophobic. It's just it's mostly tobacco swamp too. All right, and also when they unblock me on Twitter is when that person is finally gone and she's a little bit safer. Nobody's ever 100% safe, and she won't be for her entire life. Okay, but a lot safer than she is now. And that's why I'm having fits over this stuff. So whoever that is interviewing her is gay, and if he's closeted, somebody needs to get him the F away from her. Okay? Find somebody else who could ask these questions. I'm sure you could find 100 people who are just as good or better than this person. There's absolutely no reason you have to have a closeted gay guy standing 5 feet away from her. All right? Okay, that's that. I'm done with that fit. Okay, bye, baby girl. I'm not going to post this until after. She's having her second concert tonight, and I think you see her here. Like, there's a lot of postings of it. I had a good time, and she's having a good time, and I'm glad. But I was mostly worried about that concert in Vegas, but now I'm worried about going back in New York there. Okay, bye, baby. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Online, on here. So that's that. So I'm worried about this, and I felt all this time, the last 3 weeks, trying to get this History of the World Part 2 done. I had to get it before her concerts. I had to get it done before her concerts. And it's just not happening. But what happened really interestingly this week, a couple things. So I'm over at my daughter's place, and where's Esther? So anyway, I have Esther over here. So one of the things that happened was I got interested in Esther all of a sudden, and it's never all of a sudden with me. I just felt an instinct, like I should just go see what she's saying about Israel. I'm a little bit worried about her. So I go, and then I say, oh, that was interesting, and that was that. But then the next night, I was going to work on History of the World Part 2. My TV broke. I forgot my laptop. There was nothing to do. Not accidental. I thought, okay, I'll just listen to Esther on my phone. And I remember seeing Chelsea Handler. She had an interview. I never even noticed. I haven't been watching. And all of a sudden she has this thing with Chelsea Handler. It wasn't on her regular, it was somewhere. And I said, okay, take a mental note. I'm going to definitely look through that because Chelsea Handler is tobacco and not very dangerous to me for her to be interacting with Esther. And then I'm just really, really looking for her talk on Israel or the war or things. And then I find this guy, I don't know why I clicked on it, but it's a gay guy talking about, and it's right here. Where are you? Esther, this guy. Esther is calling, is this survivor's guilt? This guy is gay. Okay? And so this was the one I was going to fall asleep to. I was getting a little tired, so I left it on. And he's talking, and there's a lot of lies in there and everything. I know he's gay. If he's closeted gay, get him the F away from Astaire, people. This guy's closeted gay. Get him the fuck away from Astaire. All right? We don't need any more closeted gay guys around these women right now. All right? Especially because I'm pretty sure some of this stuff, if this is older, fine. Let it be. But the closeted gay guys around her is driving me bananas. Okay? All right. And History of the World Part 2 will tell you why that is in a minute. Or not in a minute. Anyway. So, but then the second thing was, so then what happens is, of course, whenever I finally hit upon what I'm supposed to be hitting upon, like I'm gonna fall asleep to this guy, and then I wasn't going to. I was gonna listen to him, and then I was gonna listen to Chelsea Handler. What happens is, after this guy talks for about 5 minutes, I'm out cold for 11 hours. I just needed to sleep because I found out what I had to do. When I wake up, I listen to him. I listen to Chelsea, and I have a fit online. Instead of doing Nicole's, okay, we're gonna do this again. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday, December 31st, 2023. Happy New Year. It's now 9 o'clock in Gainesville, Florida, and some people are already starting to do some fireworks outside, so yay for them. I was recording this earlier. It was going to be a quick video. I was trying to get from this point up here to there in about 1 minute, and it was 8 minutes, and I hadn't gotten to this page yet. And I looked at all the stuff I wanted to talk about, and I said, that was just too much. So we're going to try again. I'm just going to come straight. It went like this. All right, let's just do this. I'm going to try to tack it on to the other one or not. We'll see. But last night, I'm writing Nicole's History of the World Part 2. Past midnight, I go to do the Wordle, which is salty, and I write a comment that says, okay, you want me to talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls? Fine, I'll do that a little bit later. And then I launch into this criticism of string theory and all sorts of stuff. I said, what a bunch of BS and blah, blah, blah. Like, what the hell are you doing? But there was a point to it, because all of a sudden, at the very bottom, string theory is this, quantum mechanics. Let me do this really quickly. There's a field of physics called quantum mechanics, quantum theory, quantum theory, I think it's called. Whatever, I'm not a big physicist. And then there's like Maxwell's equations and all that stuff, whatever. And then there's another area, general relativity with Einstein. These are all big physicists, big guys, big brains thinking all this stuff. But everybody's trying to get those theories to join. There's the gravity with the electromagnetism, that kind of stuff, okay? And have one unifying, equation and theory and things like that you could hang everything in real life onto. And they just don't mesh very well. That reaches a certain point where they don't mesh. And what I am saying to that is chuck it all out, and I'll show you why in a minute. You have to start from the very beginning and get them to intertwine from the bottom up. You can't solve each one separately and then try to get them to intertwine. Okay, that's my take on it. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's just instinctually, and I got the best example when I was in jail. So right at this point, I said, okay, I just stopped talking and said, okay, I have an idea for a quick video. See you in a minute. I'm talking to my Wordle muses. If I can figure it out how to do this. And so that was last night. And here I am. What is this? Almost 24 hours later, and it just took me on this big old long journey all day. And I'm posting about it right now. So 1 minute to get to this video. This site right here, the Sudoku. Okay. So here we are in jail. I did a lot of Sudokus. This one I think is called medium hard one. And it's just a lot of people think it's brain activity. It's just brainless in a way that you follow a certain pattern and you use your brain, but you use it the same way I do when I'm at work. It's a different part of my brain. You just follow a pattern and then you're on autopilot. So it uses your brain and it's entertaining and it's not tiresome at all. I could just do this forever, and it's same as at work. Okay, that's why I love the work I do. You just listen to the radio and do Sudokus or do whatever I do at work. I don't want to attempt to understand it. I just know when I'm done at work, I come home and I'm not mentally tired. I can do a lot of writing. And it's the same with doing the Sudokus, and that's what I did. So I did a lot of Sudokus, a lot of them. And my buddy Brianna, I mentioned her in some letters, but she would bring me to Sudokus. She was just a really good trustee, and just a good young person I felt for. I think she was in there for life or something, and I did whatever I could to try to just get her out of jail. She had been there for like 3 years, and anyway, and the name the name sort of made me partial because she had the same name as my boo, and I thought, that's okay. Anyway, so she would bring me all these Sudokus, and I appreciated that. I didn't ask for them. She said, she just sort of figured I like doing Sudokus. And when she mentioned them, I said, oh, hell yeah, I do. I just forgot about them. I did them all the time in jail the last time. I just forgot. And when she gave them to me, I was just addicted. I was just doing them. So anyway, I solved them all the time. And then, so I just wanted to show you. It's for those of you who know Sudokus, they'll give you, if you don't know, they'll fill in a few blanks here, and the more that they have on here, the easier. But they have a few, and then it gets harder and harder. And this was like medium hard. But the point of a Sudoku is to fill out. See this little 9x9 square? Okay, that has to have the numbers 1 through 9, but you can't repeat the number. It has to be the numbers 1, 2, 3 in any order here, but you can't repeat 7, 6, 1. It has to be 1 through 9 and only one time in every square. Okay, you would think that's easy, but there's two other requirements. Every row has to have 1 through 9 and not repeat it. And every column has to have 1 through 9 and not repeat it. So you have these restrictions that make it really hard. You can't just, and sometimes, and I'm just getting to the point here. So I'm solving this. Look at this, 1 through 9 here. That's great. 1 through 9. That's not how you solve it. There's other ways to solve it and everything. I'm just showing you that the solution is looking great here. Every one of these boxes that I'm putting my arrow in right now is 1 through 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just, they're solved within each box. Except here, I got to the last two boxes. Oh, and the other thing is, look at how many are solved. This column, this column, that row, that row, that row. It just looks like I've solved this whole thing, and there's just 2 left to do. Now, when I get down to these 2 boxes, it's like, what the hell? 1, 2, I'm missing the number 3. The 3 goes there. But look at this, there's a 3 right here. What the hell? You get to the very end and you're going, what the hell happened? And here's another one. What's missing? The number 5. You put a 5 in there and there's a 5 there. What the hell? So, there's something wrong, okay? There's something wrong. Something is not fitting. It looks great, all right? And later I'm going to use the analogy that this part over here is electromagnetism, quantum electromagnetism, whatever, and this part over here is gravity. They just look fantastic and elegant, and everything works out, and it looks fantastic and elegant. But they can't, and we get down here, there's a problem. All right, there's a problem. And so the first instinct is, oh, well, it's just this column, this row, this column, this box. I'll just work on here and here. I'll put a 3 in there, and then I'll delete that one. And boy, you could do that forever, and it's so hard. There might be some kind of a technique that I don't know about that you employ at this point to go backwards and see where the mistakes are. I don't know what they are. And neither do we when it comes time to the unifying theory of physics, where we're trying to unify electromagnetism. That's what we're trying to do right now. We don't know. All I know, just from instincts, is you can't do it this way. So here's, and what it is with the Sudoku, my idea is at one point, after I tried to do all this and not go back and do all that work all over again, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do a quick little solution. Where's my mistake? Really fast. No way. The easiest thing at this point, chuck the whole thing and start again from the beginning, and just be more careful as you go through and check your work. Because there are ways to check where you make a mistake before it happens. Okay, it's very rare you get to the very end and there's 2 left like this, but it happened in this case. I didn't catch it before. There's an error that I could have caught a lot sooner. I just didn't catch it along the way. Okay? So, chuck the whole thing, start again. But for hero worshippers, and this is my point, and this is why I actually copied this and put it in my folder, because when I was in jail, I said, this is a perfect example of what's wrong with physics and the approach that they're taking in physics right now. When I'm saying quantum mechanics is all BS, you need to check the whole thing out. They don't want to do it because it's Maxwell's equations and it's Einstein and his theory of relativity. How could we throw all that out? I'm not saying what they did was garbage. We're still using it. You're still using the same techniques, 1 through 9. You're still checking it. It's just somewhere along the way, they did an assumption that didn't include the other areas of physics. If you want a unifying theory, you can't wait till they finished over here, and you can't wait till Maxwell's equations finished and they unified and they did this, and then try to combine them. Okay, so this is what the hero worshippers do, though. The males, they don't want to throw it out. So they go, oh, no, here's string theory. They go, oh, no, let's think outside the box, like literally. Okay, you see there's a box here? And I'm saying this is a time, okay, so let's think outside the box. So they do this, and then there's strings, and it's all complicated, and it's not the real world. Here is string theory in my mind, if you're using the analogy of the Sudoku. And what I did was I just copied my mistake, my error, and you see the 2 blanks here. And they're just trying to explain these 2 blanks and trying to merge everything. And they're focusing on this little area right here. This is what they're focusing on. And they just make all these new dimensions, and then they do some more strings over here, and nothing's working, and it just gets bigger and bigger until you have this huge mess, and it means nothing. Okay, that's why. And I know nothing about physics. I have no idea what I'm talking about. This is what my instincts are telling me is wrong, and why string theory is not going to work. For the first time in your life, I'm telling you to think inside the box, okay? This is the one time where you don't think outside the box, okay? So we go to Nicole theory, which is start over again, and this is the real solution. Now, if you remember before, I thought we should put a 3 in here, and then the 5 over here. That worked out fine, but look what happened. There wasn't a 3, and there's a 2, and there's a 5 over here, and what the hell? So let me show you why you have to start from the beginning. Because you're clueless. I'll show you where the mistakes are. Look where the mistakes were. And there's no way you could find them the way with string theory or the way I was trying. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, shoot. Oh, I forgot. I couldn't figure out how to do this. So I'm going to have to do it live. All right, okay. So that's fine. That's fine. I couldn't figure it out. It took me forever to do those graphics. Let's do this. That's a little bit. Okay, yeah. I remember. It's okay, guys. Hang in there. I didn't do this. Because I couldn't figure out the graphics. Can you imagine? I can't do the graphics. So 87549 right here. There's a mistake. I'm comparing the incorrect solution to the left with my correct solution. I'm showing where the differences are. Really fast. I'm just going to go through this. 978 291 876 435 638 74. It's not too many places, but there are places. The point is, there are places that are far away from where you would think, and you don't understand that when you're doing this. You don't understand when you're trying to solve in that little corner that there's other places far away from where the problem is that you don't see, and they're not, and that's what they're missing right now when they're trying string theory and all this stuff. So the point is, the Nicole theory is go back 183. Here's a 5, and that was a 2. 694. Oh, that one was all right. 591. Okay, so there were a lot of problems in this one box here. None in this box. Remember, I was just put a 5 in there and we're fine. But you would have no idea that these way over here, that you can't just solve in this little corner and do string theory over here. You have to start from the very beginning. You have to chuck everything with mathematics and start with all 4 theories being related in some way, guys. I mean, it's just my 2 cents. That's just a feeling. It's Nicole's theory. It's just to solve it, you have to stop with the hero worship. Einstein was great, Maxwell, all those guys, fantastic. Throw it all away and start from the very, very beginning. That has it has gravity, electromagnetism, everything, electricity and magnetism, and what is it? The weak force and the strong, all that stuff, whatever. All those different forces every time you do one thing, you have to do all 4 things from the very beginning. That's all. I don't know what. You guys figure it out from there. And that's that. So it's the theory of starting, it's the building block theory, meaning the foundation theory. And it doesn't work for absolutely everything, but it works for fundamental laws of physics and the segue. It works for the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing. Okay, we've got to go back from the basics. You can't build on top of it just because it's been there forever and everything before that seems to be working. Right. So this is where, and even when I was in jail, thinking about Sudoku as an analogy for physics, I was thinking at the same time Sudoku, this kind of solution, as an analogy to taking down the 16th Amendment. Now, we segue from there. This is what I'm doing all day today to Elena Kagan. All right, my favorite justice. Well, I haven't. Maybe not anymore. Yeah, she is. Period. She was then, and she might still be. She just became not my favorite. Kind of like not all at once, but I was watching a lot of videos of her, and she's just like a stare in that. I just never get bored of listening to her talk. Just very smart, very funny. And I used to watch all these videos. And I remember in the back of my brain, there was one video where she talked about a case where she did where it was like, oh, stare decisis is important. And sometimes, and I think the quote was this. I remember, I know the exact quote because I just went back and found it. But I was looking for this quote. There's an important principle in the law which is called stare decisis. A kind of, let the decision stand, which says that sometimes it's more important that matters be settled than that they be settled right. And it just every hair in my body stood up. Like, no. That is for maybe sometimes, but not with fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing. It's just like the Sudoku. Okay, you have to solve them right from the beginning, just like in the physics and just like the Sudoku. Okay, it's not like we just solve them and then that's it. Like, oh, I'm just going to fill in. We go to the Sudoku and you say, okay, well, we got this far. Oh, we got to get rid of this. I'm sorry. It's just the way it works. I'm sorry. You got to get rid of that. But we go here and we get to the solution. We go, oh, what the hell? I mean, it's better to have a solution than it be done right. So let's just put in a 3 there. Who cares? And a 5 there. That is that attitude. And that probably works with a lot of other stuff. It works in business. And we all know it works in marriage. Look what Esther says. You could be right or you could be married. I haven't even listened to that one. She's so bright. I mean, look at these two. There are two. We're talking about law and the Supreme Court justice, and on the other one we're talking about, and look how they connect. Okay, but that kind of idea, you could be right or you could be married, is hilarious. I'm gonna go look at that one. It was like the second one. I finished this one. And I guess I was going on to this one. And I'm just going to have a fun time one of these days. Just all I'm doing is going to Esther Perel. I've only been through a couple of her stuff, but she's just like Elena Kagan. I just never get sick of listening to her. But that kind of stuff, when she made that quote, and I remembered that in jail. I remembered it, and I said last night or this morning when I woke up. So another thing that happens is this. Okay, I'm not stopping this video. Once I said this, like I write this, I say, I'm going to make a quick video about the Sudoku. And I was just going to go find my Sudoku and tell you about the physics thing. Okay. But then, and it was early. It was like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever that was. It wasn't even that late. I usually stay until 5 or 6 when it's, my day off is today. I could sleep late. But as soon as I figured I'm going to go look for Elena Kagan saying that statement and talk about that as well, I fell asleep and slept for 11 hours. Same as when I found out that I should listen to Esther Perel's interview with Chelsea Handler. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing Nicole's History of the World Part 2 for like 3 weeks now, and I get these side distractions, but they're not. Because as soon as I figure out in my head what I want to go pursue this, I fall asleep for hours and hours and hours immediately when I usually stay up and work on stuff. Okay, so I knew this morning when I woke up, I'm going to go find that video, and here it is. And the other thing that was interesting was I said, okay, she was on the left in my brain, and it wasn't the Spider-Man thing, and it wasn't this, and it wasn't that. So I would have completely skipped over this video because she's on the right, and I remember this. She's talking about Spider-Man in this one and whatever. But then, and I watched a whole other video where she was on the left, and it wasn't in that video. But then I was looking at all the videos I went over, and this one was It was 1 hour and 11 minutes and 11 seconds long. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says 1:11:11. And you know me and my numbers. I mean, it just happens the way that sometimes. I said, okay, whatever it is in this video, it's not the one I'm looking for, but there's something interesting in this video. So I watched through the whole video and I go, and all of a sudden she's talking about the Spider-Man case that she likes. And I said, yeah, that's not it. And it's the Spider-Man case. I don't know what I'm thinking. That's the exact case I was looking for. It's and I recorded here. That's the one. I need to go. So there's a couple things that happened in this video today that's going to cause me to do some other stuff. Okay. Number one is, let me tell you that when I first heard that quote a long time ago in this video, I said, this is what I said to myself. I said, oh shoot, the tobacco swamp or some kind of swamp, the people who are trying to not take down the 16th Amendment got their claws into Elena Kagan. Meaning they're prepping her for the argument that we shouldn't take down the 16th Amendment because, you know, it's okay. We've had this, it's like stare decisis means if we've been doing something, it's like a customary thing. If you've been doing something a long time, let's not buck the system. It's for stability. But at the same time, you know, so it's kind of like an argument for let's just leave the 16th Amendment there and pretend this and that. No freaking way. Okay, and that's what disappointed me in Elena Kagan. I sort of like, another one bites the dust. I lost my muse or whatever it was. She's just on the side of not taking down the 16th Amendment. And I'm looking for people, in addition to Trump, who are just like, especially on the Supreme Court. And I think Kavanaugh is that person. You know why I think Kavanaugh is onto this too, is you notice when I'm talking about don't get gay people around you. The first thing he did when he got in, the first thing he does, okay, so I don't know if you guys, if you don't read me by now, you don't know this, but Dr. Blasey Ford, Christina Blasey Ford is a trans woman, right? I knew that immediately. She has she's a trans woman. And every powerful man who went to like private school is going to have a trans or a gay or somebody's got shit on him. That's how they control him. They just latch onto him early and often, like so that they have crap on him, and that's how they control him. They have, well, he did this, or they'll make it up, or I knew him, and Kavanaugh is embarrassed. He doesn't want to say that this is his gay friend, and maybe he did some crap with him or not, or whatever it was, but she was a freaking lying piece of bullshit trans woman piece of crap. Is that who that was? So he finally gets in there, Kavanaugh, and the first thing he does, hires 4 women. No men, 4 women, and it's not to make any kind of a statement. It's to be absolutely certain he doesn't have a gay Nazi asshole as a court clerk. And I would say, since it's been that way forever with men, all men, why not all women? Just put only women on the Supreme Court, only women everywhere. Because even the women who are there now, for instance, Ginsburg, her husband was gay. And Elena Kagan is gay, and Sotomayor is gay, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying and then now we have a black woman, Ketanji Brown, and her husband is flaming gay. If you can't tell he's flaming gay, it's one of these things. I've already been through this. I can't help you. Just look at a video of Ketanji Brown's husband. There's a white guy. It's like a doctor. Flaming, fucking flaming gay. Okay, so anyway, I'm sidetracked again. I'm not going to stop, but I'm just coming to a head right now. I'm saying I'm getting more interested now, back interested in the Supreme Court justices, because unlike Trump, who looks like he's going to do a political approach and try to get the 16th Amendment taken down through Congress and the Fair Tax Act, I think we should do it. He's probably going to do a 2-pronged approach, but my approach is I'd rather have the Supreme Court do it. Because that's how it should be done. Because then they could exert their power of judicial review over amendments and we could take down. And I think that's what they're doing right now with the 14th. Whatever it is, do your stuff. I know what I need to do right now. And what I need to do right now is cut back to Elena Kagan. Because there's a reason she was my favorite. And I thought when she said this, I thought she was favoring not taking down the 16th Amendment, or they were prepping her. Because she got this case from Scalia before he died, just the year before he died, before he was murdered by the tobacco swamp, by the way. And I thought that was the tobacco swamp prepping her, but the majority opinion, or she was the majority, the minority was Alito, who is gay as well. So I'm going to go back and look over this. She might have been on the right side. It might be surprisingly good. I thought it was bad news when I heard her say this, because it just sounds like, okay, 16th Amendment is bad, but because of stare decisis, we've had it so long, we need to keep it. No, it's Sudoku time. We need to chuck all that shit and get back to the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing as outlined in the original Constitution. And I don't even care. It doesn't even matter what I say, because it's going to happen. Like, it's just like, okay, I'll just sit here. I could argue all I want. It's just going to happen naturally. But the only difference is it could happen in a bad way, or it could happen where everything implodes and whatever. But we could do it where we take the pieces out bit by bit and we know what we're doing, and then we do it carefully this way, or the whole thing could just explode and then we can't even find the numbers, and then we have to find whatever it is, but it's going to happen. That Sudoku called the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing is just like the physics. It's going to happen eventually. Okay, and so, we might as well do it in an orderly way instead of standing here and going, oh, no, we haven't, it's been stare decisis. Do not make that argument, Supreme Court. So this is what I'm going to do. As I'm going through here, there was one other case so I went through this video and I learned two things. There was one case that Kagan was extremely, extremely passionate about. It was called, at a time marker 3017. Here's the video. I'll post this later, but I just wanted to talk about it. At 30 minutes and 17 seconds, here's the video. She talks about Rucho versus Common Cause. And it's about gerrymandering, and here's a statement she said. I wrote a pretty strong dissenting opinion saying the court was not performing its constitutional duty in policing the constitutionality of what politicians were doing. Okay, and that's exactly, okay, yeah, that's a good statement, but I've got to go see exactly what she's talking about. Because I have very, very specific solutions for gerrymandering problems that are constitutional. We are being screwed beyond belief. And the Supreme Court saying, oh no, we're going to take our hands off of this is not, it's just like them saying they're going to take their hands off of my pro se constitutional challenges and stuff like that. They need to get in there. They're weaker right now, but the gerrymandering is solved very easily. And statistically, it's violating our rights, all the gerrymandering. They need to have restrictions. I'll go over that later, but I need to read that case. So that's next. I'm going to read that case and go through that, okay? Before I think I'm going to finish Nicole's History of the Word Part 1, but I'm saying before I do Bible stuff, everybody, I need to do that case because I want to focus on Kagan for a second after all this stuff. And then later, she starts talking about Kimball versus Marvel Entertainment. And I didn't know this. I didn't know what she was talking about when she said that statement was a patent law case. I keep thinking in the back of my mind, I need to go through, there's something wrong with patent law. So I am taking a deep dive into patent law. I'm ordering, look at this, Sum and Substance. I bought it. I lost it all. I lost all my computer stuff. I don't have any of this stuff anymore. And now it used to be $60. Now it's $112. So I'm trying to get it online somewhere for free. And that's the CD version. I don't have a CD-ROM anymore. Why don't they have online version of this? Is there anybody out there? I'm looking for Sum and Substance, Audio and Intellectual Property by Professor John R. Thomas. Not any other things. This is what I learned on. This is my law school stuff. I know there's a bunch of stuff out there, whatever. I don't want to read. I just want my Sum and Substance. Because I did go through a part. I just have a routine, and I like the Sum and Substance, even if it's year 2000 or whatever it is. So this is what I want. And UC Berkeley School of Law, or the library, not the law library there, has it online available. But you have to have, so I sent an email to them, and they're not there right now. They're like gone for a break or whatever. But I'm hoping one of these law schools that have it available online, not a CD, and will let me have it online for free, not $100 on a CD that I don't have a CD-ROM player. So I'm just putting it out there. That's what I'm looking for. But this, I'm definitely going through that. Again, I went through the first part of it. I didn't have a chance to listen to the whole thing, but I'm talking deep dive into intellectual property, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to brief both of her cases. I'm going to brief this case, and then I'm going to brief the Marvel one. Marvel Entertainment is tobacco. I already established that, and I want to see what's going on in patent law. And it was Scalia who wanted her to write about it, and he wanted her to, and hopefully there is a time and a place for it. There's a time to use it and a time not to, and she apparently talked about that, and I want to see if she's right or wrong, or if I agree or disagree on that. So that's what I'm doing, people. I'm very excited about that today. Here was the case. This was the. I really am kind of like excited about it, but I don't want to even look at it until I go through my seventh substance. Okay, we did this in law school. It was great. We'd go through, like we'd read stuff, and then they'd give a really good case brief. It wasn't like at Harvard where it was just quantity and not quality. Like you'd have to do 200 cases, and it's just like all the same crap. I mean, Taft Law School was just amazing. They would just like finger the exact case. And I'm not talking about a case where it was, I mean, they thought it was a great case, but I would just rip it apart. I'm saying this is stupid. You know, it was great cases for me to practice on before I went to the great Dred Scott fraud. Because by that point, I wasn't believing any shit done anywhere. Like I was questioning everything from the very beginning, like the Sudoku. And that helped. It wasn't the 5, they didn't make me do 5 million case briefs. They only made me do a couple of dozen over 4 years. 4 or 5, but they were very, very well chosen ones to do. So good for them. Taft Law School, better than Harvard, I think, for me at least, and anybody having independent thoughts about stuff. So and then the second one, I'll go through this. Kimball and Marvel. I'm gonna case brief those. So that's what I'm doing over the next year. I'm still gonna finish Nicole's history. I'm almost done with that. But this is what I was doing all day today, and that's from the Sudoku, and it just came from this one thing where it said. Oh, I have an idea. I'm going to do a quick video, and that was almost 24 hours ago, people. Okay, so sorry about that. And I don't care how long this video is, but okay, that's the Sudoku. I went over that, and that's the Sudoku theory of getting to the bottom of, and it applies to fundamental laws of self-governing and physics, and I always compare those two, an analogy, by the way. So I'm going to case brief those two things. And that's all I was going to say. Kagan, I'm very excited to go back because I really liked her and I want to go back to liking her. I didn't like her after that too much. I mean, I like her. She's but I was hoping I was hoping that I knew that out of anybody on the Supreme Court, I could argue to her and get her to see my way more than anybody else. Like on a lot of stuff, So we'll see. I want to brief those cases for her, in fact. I mean, they could learn from me too. I don't have to just learn from them. Where should we begin? I wanted to show that. And then this guy, I don't know, I think I showed this before. This guy was gay. And, the last thing I wanted to say, sub and substance, was this. I was trying for 3 weeks to get this Nicole's History of the World out because I was worried about some kind of disasters going on. And I have it in a previous video, and I'm just going to tack it onto this one or just post them separately. But what happened was I did the Esther thing. I posted this criticism or this comment saying it's just Chelsea Handler, and there's a connection there, and all of a sudden the next day, online, I'm looking at my For You feed, which is an indicator for me, and it goes from it was as if a mass shooting had already happened. Every time the gay Nazi assholes, whenever there's a mass shooting and it's the tobacco swamp doing it, they come out afterwards with anti-gun laws and with the Second Amendment needs to go and you dumb Trump supporters and blah, 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 and they go on and on. And that was all over the For You feed at X, as if a mass shooting happened. It was so overwhelming that I was panicked and looking everywhere because it looked like a mass shooting had happened. But it didn't happen, and I think I thwarted it in a way. And what harm? I have 4 people watching this video. What harm in letting me believe that? So that's why I think I have more. I think it's getting out there more than the 4 people. But it feels good. It feels like even when I'm talking a lot, it feels like I'm in the right direction. It feels like I am thwarting stuff. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Whatever will be, will be. I'm excited about the Bible work, and now I'm excited about this new stuff I'm going to do. And I'm sorry, Wordle people, but you're doing great. They prompt me, and then it leads me in all these directions that end up being really important, I think. So I keep thinking History of the World Part 2 is important, and it's not. It was all this other stuff I'm doing. The Bible stuff was important and this other stuff, and it seems to have thwarted that. And the second thing that happened on the same day was always talk of Israel war and Gaza and this, and everybody cares. Nobody cares, you guys. But they're trying to make it like it cares. And all of a sudden, overnight, it's, we need money for Ukraine, money for Ukraine. All of a sudden, what happened to the war in Israel? It's all of a sudden Ukraine. Like they've given up on flying the plane or doing a disaster and then blaming it on Hamas. Hamas, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. It looked like they'd given up on those two things, the mass shooting and the plane thing, maybe. Now I'm going to keep going all the way through to the Super Bowl and this stuff, though. You better believe it. Kelly's going back to Vegas, and these guys are worse than vampires to stop. So I'm completely on it. But I'm telling you what I'm doing right now to that's going to help thwart that is I'm going to be focusing on the Atlantic Kagan and the the intellectual property law and the history of the world, and I'm going to keep doing the Bible stuff. But it seems to be all happening. It's all happening. Who is that? I think that's Pink's Twitter line. So that's what I meant. That's what I meant to say when I hit upon something and then I fall asleep like that for hours. I always, it's like, okay, now I know what I should be doing, and that's what I did. And I didn't get back to my muse people when I said I'll be done in a minute. It's just 24 hours later. I'm looking up all this stuff in these videos and stuff, and that's it. Okay, bye. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm going to post this at before midnight our time. That's 9 o'clock. I didn't want to post any of this stuff until after Kelly started her concert, but I think she's starting pretty soon. 9, 10, 7. I don't know why. I just don't. I mean, you'll see when I do History of the World Part 2 that, I just I hate. You gotta be. You can't be the person who cries wolf too much, but you can't be quiet either. You really have to just go out there and try your best, and I'm doing that. Okay, Happy New Year, and I already said that. Godspeed to everybody coming out the other end in one piece. PEAC and PIAC. I hope to be doing the same thing every Christmas Eve, for a very long time, and if not, that's fine. Whatever, what will be, will be. And onward, Christian soldiers who aren't Christian anymore. What else do I say? Hang in there. Living my best life for sure. I really am appreciating this year. It was just a really, really good year for me. It was just really good. How do you say that? 2011. 11 is my lucky number, and I always say that. 2011, I spent most of my year, like almost 10 months in jail in 2011. And that was my best year. Like it was supposed to be my best year. And then I look back on it and I go, yeah, it kind of was the same way this year was. There's a lot of stuff that I learned and that I went through that I wouldn't have gone through unless I was in jail that whole time. Now, you kind of hope at this point that the dead people would find a better way to get the best kind of work out of me. I hope they do. Because, enough with this. Just let me, anyway, whatever. It's fine. Just living my best life. And Happy New Year, and I'm going to post this, and we'll talk to you again soon. After the next Wordle. Dang, every time there's a new Wordle, I'm off on a new tangent, but it's fun. Having a good time with my muses. All of them. All right, bye. How do you turn this off? Bye.